Hi, guys. It's Sven from Badass Counseling. So we created the Badass Counseling group on Facebook, and it grew to well over 45,000 members. And we kept getting asked by folks for a support group, a growth group that's more intimate, gives more access to me, Sven, if possible. So the Badass Counseling team got together, and they created Community Plus. For a monthly fee that isn't cheap, you get direct access to me 2 times a month where you can submit your questions directly. Monthly drawings for a small group counseling session with me. Monthly drawings for one-on-one counseling sessions with me. Priority Pass access to go to the front of the waiting list for ongoing counseling with me. Priority Pass access to be considered to be counseled by me on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Direct access to my top 2 selling video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. Interviews with people who've had success in their soul journey, some well-known and some everyday folks like you and me. And a fantastic opportunity to meet and get to know other men and women who take their healing and growth seriously and who do the work. And a social community feed where folks share their challenges, their struggles, and their triumph. And so much more. So go now to badasscounseling.com. Click on the Community Plus sign-up page for premium content and direct access to me and to like-minded people who are committed to healing, growth, and creating a community of support and happiness.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Well, you made it. It's good to have you here. This is the Badass Counseling Show. I am Sven Erlandson, the host of this show. And wherever you are tuning in from, whether it be North Platte, Nebraska, or Phoenix, or Madison, Wisconsin, or Kyoto, Japan, or Portugal, we've got listeners all around the world regularly checking in. It's great to have you here with us for this live taping of a lightning round of the show. I am joined by my team here in studio. Over in the booth is Casey. She's waving to you. You can't see her, so you'll just have to use your imagination. And right next to me, I have Rob. We call him the Rocket because he's so fast, always repairing mistakes that I make. And he's just such a charming guy, and rockets are charming. Nope, just threw that last part on, but he is charming. Rob, how you doing today, man?
I guess I'm charming, but thank you. Very gracious of you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I can correct my own mistakes, too, that I make on the board here, so not to worry.
And what's the plan for the garden this year, Rob?
Well, I'm going to be sharing the garden with my girlfriend for the first time. She's never had a plot of land to grow vegetables on. She's very excited. So We're going to be having eggplant and tomatoes and basil and a lot of peppers, sweet peppers, hot peppers, and some lettuce and whatever's her fan. I'm going to give her half and make her weed it also.
Right? Got to do your own weeding if you're going to have a garden.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, Rob, you gave me some Japanese eggplant.
Yeah, they were good.
Oh, yeah, they were good. They were good. They're smaller than a normal eggplant, but you strip up enough of them, and you can have a mighty good eggplant parmesan right there, people, I tell you. All right, we are going to dive right in here. I've got a question starting off the day here from Katie DP on TikTok, who told us she is actually sitting out a tornado warning in Madison, Wisconsin. So, Katie, we're going to take your question because, hey, want to keep you entertained, keep your mind off the madness, go whipping around outside your upstairs. All right. Katie says, I have a question. I recently separated from my husband, moved into my own place, the place you're in the basement of, presumably. I miss him at night. Do you have advice to break that toxic cycle, Sven? Yes, I do. When we miss someone, it's because there is still something in us that is connected to them. Now, in some cases, it's anger, all right? If we miss a parent, if we still want to connect with a parent or an old friend or want closure, it's because oftentimes we want to say something. And sometimes what we want to say is, fuck you. Or we want to say, you really hurt me. I, for so many years, wanted to connect with one of my sisters-in-law. For so many years. And I never had the chance. And then there was a divorce in the family, et cetera, et cetera. And I never got a chance to connect with her because I was angry at her that she had skipped my second wedding to my second wife. It really hurt my feelings because I thought she and I were really close friends, and it really hurt my feelings, and she had skipped it. And so I was angry because she mattered to me and she was my friend. All right. So sometimes we hold on to someone out of anger, but sometimes, more often than not, if it's an ex, what keeps us missing them is some derivative of love. And you said that I miss him at night, right? And there's a sense of security, there's a sense of safety, there's touch, there's all sorts of things that happen in bed. I mean, obviously we all know that, but there's so much more than just the sex that happens in bed. My girlfriend likes it when I sort of comb her hair with my hand while she's falling asleep. I don't get it. It's dead cells. How can you even feel that? I don't think about it too much. But the point is, there's so many things. And if nothing else, there's just the comfort of knowing that person is there. But ultimately, you have feelings, I'm willing to bet, of love, longing, missing that person. And all you got to do is sit down with a pad of paper and a pen and start writing letters of love and longing, maybe lust, missing that person, all of those feelings. And if there's anger and disappointment in there, put that in there as well. Put that in the letter if that's in you as well. But start flushing out all of your feelings, because it is those feelings inside of you that have not been discharged, that have not been given an exit point. That is what is keeping you connected to your ex. And that's what's got to come out. And then what you're going to find, the more you release those feelings out of you, the more you're not going to miss them so much. And you're going to have a sense of peace where there was formerly unrest and longing.
I think you answered Tracy Lynn's question on YouTube, how to heal after an ex breaks up with you because he wasn't physically attracted to you even after 3 years.
Yeah, and that goes to another point, not just that you're longing for the person, but in that case, he wasn't physically attracted to you. Isn't that interesting that you put that out there? We taped an episode, on our last episode, Lightning Round. Somebody asked the question, what should you say in a breakup? And I said, fundamentally, just say you don't feel it anymore and talk about, how the chemistry is sort of falling apart for you, but you don't get into talking about what is wrong with the other person. It's not necessary because it just creates insecurity in this other person. And that tape that you start playing, that you print and put into this other person, they're going to take as an insecurity, and it's going to make them feel bad about themselves, or they're going to make you feel bad about yourself. So in your case, Tracy Lynn, I believe the name was, in your case, you've got more than just you long for that person. You've been taught to feel bad about yourself. So there's also going to be anger in there. I'm mad at you for saying that shit because it's just not true. And you also need to be going into flushing out more of those messages of, do I believe this true? Why do I believe this? Have I gotten these messages before? Or is it total bullshit? Was this person just saying stupid shit when I actually really like me? Or I like how my nose is a little crooked? Or I like how, my one shoulder is a little higher than the other shoulder. I actually have that. When I walk, one of my shoulders is a little higher than the other. And my stepdaughter was like, Sven, do you know one of your shoulders? I said, yeah, I know. And which is actually really great because I always put my bag, if I got a strap bag, I put it on the higher shoulder because it stays on automatically. I don't know. I've just always been a little crooked. Anyway, but the point is that that's an insecurity. That's more than just the missing of the relationship. That person made you insecure, so you got to begin to flush that out, and also the anger of them calling you names fundamentally, because that shit hurts. But you got to start flushing that shit out as well. I've got a question over here on Facebook. This is from AP, and the question is, I have trouble defining quote unquote anger for myself. Is defensiveness anger? I'm really struggling identifying when I am angry. And if you're having trouble identifying it, AP, what that fundamentally means to me is that you weren't allowed to feel it when you were a child. Otherwise, you would be quite familiar with it, right? If somebody had never seen a spider growing up and all of a sudden they get to be 22 years old, let's say, and you're not 22, but I'm just saying, they get to be 22 and somebody puts a spider in front of them, they'd be like, well, what's this? I've never seen this before. Do I eat it? Is this something I put in my gas tank? What is this? Right. You have no idea. And that's fundamentally what you're saying. I don't know how to identify it. Right. Because you weren't allowed to identify it. You weren't allowed to experience it. And what if we were to just start with anything that feels yucky? How about a feeling that feels yucky? But then you'd say, well, wait a minute. Is sadness anger? I'd say, oh, no. It's a yucky. So now we've now whittled it down. It's a yucky feeling because anger generally feels yucky. It feels stirred up. It feels raw. It feels rough, but it's different from sadness. All right. So now we've established it's a somewhat of a yuck feeling or a negative feeling or this agitated feeling that feels different from sadness. Okay. So now we've whittled it down a bit. But the truth is, what you really need to be looking at is not just defining anger for myself. What's really underneath anger is hurt. Are you able to define when you've been hurt? Are you able to define when something hurts, when it doesn't feel good? What if you were to start there? More importantly, Andrea, additionally, let me put it this way, and to help you in that quest, have you read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup? Because that's going to step you through this exact process of finding what exactly you were taught when you were taught it. You got to read the book and do the journaling exercises in the book, Andrea, because this is what's going to, again, help you identify those very feelings because you were not taught clearly. And I'm struggling identifying when you're angry. You know what, AP, what you need to focus on is identifying when you've been hurt. Start there. Because generally speaking, anger is a secondary emotion. It comes after. It's in response to pain. Past pain, present pain, or potential future pain. And is defensiveness anger? It's in the same family. Why? You're defending yourself against potential pain. And so you're taking a defensive posture, which is fundamentally the use of anger, the use of aggression, the use of fight. And so that's definitely in the same food group. Yes. So if you're feeling defensive, that is in the anger family. And it's not always a bad thing. If you've got an attacking enemy, having a good, strong defense is a good thing. All right, next question. I've got a question here. This one is a little hard to read. I may need clarification. This is on TikTok. CC Brandy 48 says, how you someone to that you're sorry and you know you effed it up? How do you say to someone that you're sorry when you know you fucked it up? Honestly, you go to them. First thing I would do, honestly, is I would sit down with a pen and paper and I would write it down. Now, I get a lot of clients who don't take me up on this. And that's fine. I can't make someone do something. But anytime you're about to go into something important, like have a big talk with someone, or where you're intimidated and you want to say something, but you're afraid to say it, or it's an important meeting, or you're going to break up with someone, or whatever it is, I always tell people, and you got to jumble this stuff and you can't figure it out, sit down with pen and paper or in front of your computer and write out the letter that you want to say, but don't send that one. And then sit on it for a couple of days. Then write a new letter. Totally different. Don't tweak that one. Write a totally different one. I recently had an interaction about a month ago with someone who's really close to me. And we had a bit of a disturbance in the force, so to speak, and a bit of a wrinkle between us. And, we had one email and then another email. And then there was one that I took about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and I sat on. And I wrote my letter to this person at least 15 times. At least 15 times. And I did not rush myself to send a response because the relationship was important enough to me. It was so important that I didn't want to rush it. And I just kept writing that letter. And some days I didn't feel like writing a letter, so I didn't. Some days I wrote 3 versions of it. And it's just like when it feels right, it feels right. And what's funny is the very first letter I wrote was 4 pages long, written, typed, single space. The very last one I ended up writing was about 2 paragraphs, 2 simple points, much more conciliatory, and so much of my energy and emotion had deflated out of it. And it was softer in tone, not even intentionally so. It was just like I had calmed down because I had flushed out so much. So I would say begin to flush out all your stuff and keep doing it, and then write your apology letter. Write out your apology when you know you fucked up and just say it, own it, and say, I hurt you. Those are powerful words to say to another person when you know you've effed up. I hurt you, and there's no excuse. Don't say, but I was, or you got to understand this was what was going on. Don't make excuses. Just say, I really screwed up, and there's no excuse for it. And I wish I hadn't. And if you really want to double down, really give it an apology with a punch. Say to them, the truth is you don't even have to forgive me. And I would understand if you didn't. But I need you to know that I am sorry, whether you forgive me or not. There's no excuse for what I did. Now that's a powerful apology. And then, of course, follow it up with changed action. Because if you don't change your action, then it's just words and it's just bullshit. Then you're just fucking manipulating them, which I'm sure you're not going to do, but that's the follow-up. All right, next question. Here, question of the night. Question of the night. This is wow. Okay, you guys are going to like this one. I like this one. Melissa Lynn, you get gold star for a great question. This is a zinger. Melissa Lynn asked the question, listen to this. How do I support my mom at the memorial for her husband? Now you get that far and you're like, wow, this is a no-brainer. This is great. We can do this. How do I support my mom at the memorial for her husband who was abusive to us kids when we were kids? Well, that's a totally different question, isn't it? And isn't it fascinating, Melissa Lynn, why you want to go to the memorial at all? You made it abundantly clear you don't want to go for yourself. Because you didn't say, I want to go to this memorial for myself. And you wouldn't have written that in, because why the hell would you even make a comment saying that? You would have no point, there'd be no issue and no need to ask me anything if you knew you wanted to go for yourself. So the mere fact that you're even writing that says, I don't want to go. If we're just up to me, I don't want to go. This fucking piece of shit abused us as kids. Fuck him. I want to go piss on his grave if I'm honest. Now, I may be overstating it. Maybe I'm not. You don't want to go. Because if you wanted to go, you wouldn't be asking how you could support your mom. And because I want to go too. There would be no question at all. No, you're asking that question because you don't want to go. And you made a point of telling me, you gave me the conflict. I'm caught between supporting mom and I don't want to go because this guy was a fucking piece of shit who abused me. Here you go. So I will ask you a couple things. And one, and you can't really answer because we're not in a conversation per se here, but I guess the first question I'd want to ask you is, what percent, if it were just up to you, what percent do you actually want to go? Like if you weren't feeling obligated to support your mom, what percent would you want to go? And I'm willing to bet that number is pretty damn close to or spot on 100% you would not go. Right? I don't think that's unreasonable. That's the whole point of your question. So then I would ask you the question, what percent do you feel obligated to support your mom? Now that could be any number at all, but I'm willing to bet it's not as high a number as the 100% you don't want to fucking go to that memorial. So what that tells me is you more don't want to go than you do want to go. But the real whopper of a question is this. It's not that you feel obligated to go for your mom. No. If you're doing something counter to what you really, really want to do, what does that mean, folks? Come on. You've watched the show long enough and listened to the show long enough. It means fear. So the real question is, what do you fear happening if you don't go to the funeral of your mom's husband who abused you as kids? What is it you fear happening? Do you fear your mom's tongue lashing? Do you fear her backlash? Do you fear her being disappointed in you? Do you fear her cutting you off? Do you fear your siblings being upset with you, although they were abused too, according to your question? What is it you really fear? Or maybe, and here's the real twister, is it that you fear that if I don't go, I may not get what I've been waiting my whole life to get from mom? To which many of you are like, what the fuck does that mean? Very often the reason people hold on to a parent is because they're still hoping that today is the day I get that approval, that sense of worth, that confirmation of my worth. Today is the day I hope I get, my parents saying, I'm so sorry for everything I put you through, that acknowledgement of what they put me through. Today is the day that they finally give me that confirmation of worth that I've been waiting for my whole life. But if you don't go, If you don't do everything your mom wants you to do, you feel like you will never get that confirmation of worth that you've been waiting for your whole life, which is fascinating if it's true. Because the mere fact that he abused you as kids, of course, my first question is, did your mom know that he was abusing you? Because if she did, that means she knew back then and she let it happen. And by merely allowing that abuse to happen, she was deconfirming your worth. She was fundamentally saying, you don't matter enough for me to protect you. And here she is. If she is willing to withdraw confirming your worth now, she's fundamentally saying, you don't matter enough for me to confirm your worth. So by not confirming your worth now, she is fundamentally confirming the fact that she didn't confirm your worth back then. In other words, she's doing the same goddamn thing she's always done.
And she stayed married to the guy, apparently.
And she stayed married to the guy that abused you. I'm willing to bet that deep down inside of you, you fucking hate her for what she allowed to happen to you. And you got to understand, folks, in cases like this, where there was shit done in childhood that either your parent did or your parent allowed to happen, there are two crimes happening. There's the crime of what happened back then, and there's the crime of not having atonement since then. And so the question is, has your mom had atonement since then? Has she truly come to you and said, I am so sorry for what I allowed to happen to you, my precious child, and to your siblings, and there is no excuse. And I was a coward, and it doesn't matter what I went through in my childhood, because plenty of people have shitty childhoods and give their children safe childhoods. So that's a bullshit, throwaway, fucking garbage-ass excuse. Now, if she did do that, God bless her. And, you know, in the end, it's still up to you and what feels right to you. But if she hasn't done that, she's committed two crimes. One, allowing it to happen, and two, not atoning for her sin. Not that I regularly like throw out those words, but that was a great question. I love that one. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you've cheated or been cheated on, you feel like there's no way back. I was there and I was terrified. Then I read Cheating Sucks. Even though it's designed to help betrayed partners heal, it forced me, the one who cheated, to face my own brokenness and take responsibility. It didn't just help me heal. It showed me how to talk to my husband with total honesty and compassion, paving a way to rebuild trust we thought was gone forever. Stop running from the shame. Read and start healing today at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with the Badass Counseling Show podcast, taking listener questions rapid fire. Babs McGee on TikTok asks, why do people use bullying to control situations? Best way to handle them? Sibling I cut off does. Well, yeah, and by controlling a situation, I don't have to open up and be vulnerable. And what being vulnerable in that situation means is that I'm giving someone else the power to hurt me. But as long as I'm always bullying, I'm always in control and no one can hurt me. I don't ever have to open up. But also by bullying, it enables me to hurt someone else. And if you have a lot of pain inside of you, it feels good to hurt someone else, right? It's gratifying. By hurting someone else, it makes me feel big. It makes me feel important. It elevates me. It keeps me above you. It keeps you under me. It keeps my boot on your throat. And Babs McGee, the mere fact, and I don't mean to be rude, and I love you. We're from the same home country, but the mere fact that you are still in a relationship with someone who continues to bully you means you are at this point allowing someone to bully you. Okay? And it means that you are likely still wanting something from that person. And you're going to continue to allow this person to treat you this way until you get that what you want. And yeah, they're doing it because they want control. And the mere fact that you're even asking the question, how come they're doing this? How come they're doing this? Says you're trying to untie the knot. You're trying to figure out why they're doing it because it hurts you. I just want to be close to them. Why do they keep treating me this way? I just want to be close to them, which says you're desperately holding on to them, still wanting them. You're afraid to let go of them, that they have something you want, and that's what gives them so much power over you. All right. Danielle Marie over on Facebook says, how do I help my 19-year-old son who has depression and ideation of that stuff, which I'm not allowed to use that word on social media. He is very manic and he refuses professional help. How can you help him? There are times in life, Danielle Marie, where I fall back on the words of my mother. I went through a 12-year depression of that exact same kind, okay? And I know from conversations during that period and subsequent conversations in the years after that my mother, who died in her 90s and raised 6 kids and taught at the graduate level in the field of early childhood education and so forth, and was fundamental and wrote in scholarly journals in the field and so forth, that she was as expert as any expert can be when it comes to raising children and parenting and family systems and so forth. And I recall her saying, and it was interestingly the same advice as a pastor's wife, as she had been for 65 years. She was dual role. She had a career and she was a pastor's wife. She counseled many clergy, but also wives of young clergy who were going into the parish for the first time. And they would, ask her, well, Charlotte, what do I do? I've never done this before. And what do I do? I don't know how to act, and so on and so forth. And she would tell them the same thing that I know was the advice that she lived by when I was going through my hardest times. And in fact, any of my siblings, I have 5 older siblings. And the truth is that sometimes in life, as Mom would say, all you can do is just love them. Just love them. Extra patience, extra kindness, extra listening. Just love them. And what you've got working, one of the things you have working against you is all of the pain and all the suffering and all the rage inside of you, all the disappointment, all the fear. And that's what you can be doing. That's what you can actively be doing, is getting all of your stuff out. Now, I'm going to be very, very honest with you here, Danielle. Okay? Having been on your son's end of that myself, 12 years I was in it. And having also counseled more people in your son's situation than I can count, and having counseled more parents in your situation than I could count, your son being in that state did not happen out of the blue. That generally grows out of family systems. Okay? In my case, it grew out of a very large family in which there was very little attention for 6 kids. Plus, my father was always sort of competing with us for attention. My father was a great man, but he never got enough attention. Okay? And so there's 7 people competing for attention. My only one really giving attention was Mom. Otherwise, it was just kids being kids and Dad being a kid. And that led to a serious deficiency of getting that attention. Well, attention, positive attention, is confirmation of worth. So it doesn't necessarily always come from a bad home. But something happened in that home that has caused your son to not feel a sense of value. So what you can begin to do on your piece of the equation is, first of all, begin to heal yourself by decharging all of the feelings inside of you, getting them out of you, all of the memories that you have that have emotional charges attached to them, by, first of all, healing yourself, because by getting all of the crud, the pain, the fears, and the BS beliefs you've been taught about yourself, by getting all of your crud out, you have greater capacity. Your love cup is emptier. So it's able to fill up more with love, but it's also able to take on more and be more patient and present to your son, which it sounds like is clearly what you want. You're trying to figure out how to be more present and how to be more for your son by, first of all, getting out your own crap that's standing in the way. Second of all, you need to begin to look deeply into what has been happening in your own family system in which your son grew up that has been a contributor, likely a significant contributor to your son coming to this position at 19 years old. And if you have not yet read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, I recommend starting there. Because if that's going to help you begin to understand the power of messaging, the power of core beliefs, and your son likely got some messages and some core beliefs embedded in him while he was growing up. And those you can actually be in a indirect way or semi-direct way, be helping your son get those out without it being through therapy, which he is refusing, which is unfortunate. And that needs to be an ongoing thing. those attempts without pushing, because very often the thing we push for most is the thing that someone often resists us on most. So at this point, you need to be as loving as possible, as patient as possible, and work on your own stuff. But I would strongly encourage you to simultaneously, in addition to, as I said, purging out your own stuff, looking at what happened in the system in which your son grew up, because that is more than likely where this problem came from. Next question. Keen Echo on TikTok asked the question, how do I know when to end a relationship? Honestly, short answer, when it doesn't feel good anymore. And it hasn't felt good for a long time. And the trajectory of the relationship seems to indicate it's not going to be feeling good or change. That's how you know. There's no one answer fits all, but the question you got to ask yourself, the mere fact that you're asking that question says in all likelihood you're already done. If it doesn't feel good, and it hasn't felt good for a while, and it feels like, and one of the things you can ask yourself is, back when it did feel good, how long ago was that? Write that number down. Was it 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 9 months ago, whatever? What percent did it feel good? 90%, 88%, 65%? What are we talking about? And then what percent does it overall generally feel good now? Okay, so that has been a what percent decline. And then what percent do you see your general level of it feeling good, let's say a year from now, or 6 months from now, or 3 years from now? And so is it safe to say it is declining and that you do not see this trajectory changing? Well, it sounds like you've pretty much answered your question. All right, next question. This is actually from Tammy Kramus over on Facebook. It's not a question. She says, it's like butter. LOL. Rob's voice.
Why, thank you.
It's true. It says it right there. Tammy, regular listener to the show. I see her name on here quite often. All right.
If it's on the internet, it must be true.
Uh-huh. It's true. I see it right there. We have one here from Marissa Finamori. Hello from Cancun, Sven. Well, I think we can all say hello, Marissa, and do you have room for us? Marissa says, hello from Cancun, Sven. Question, do you think love exists? Like movie songs or poems love? I was always a romantic. Well, I'm glad you're a romantic, and I think a lot of us are romantics, and I think romance is good. Do I think love exists? Absolutely and unequivocally, yes. Yes. Like movie songs or poems love? Yes. I think it can be overdone. You know, you are my whole world. I can't live without you. My heart breaks. I'm an utter imbecile, and I'll be sloppy in the streets and drunk and urinating in my pants if you don't come back to me. No, that's a bit much. But that's poetry, right? You like the urinating in the pants part? All right. I spent 2.5 years living with the homeless, sleeping on concrete every night with the homeless in Oakland, California. So I can say those things. It's true. Anyway, the stories I could tell.
Poetic.
Thank you. So does it exist? Absolutely. Does it have the joys and the lows and the highs and where your heart, you feel it for the person? Yeah. Does it have the long periods of, dissatisfaction and problems and so forth? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not a real relationship if there isn't conflict. I talk about in a couple of my books, the myth of the pain-free relationship. That doesn't exist. But the really good poetry, as I see it, is the stuff that acknowledges the good and the bad. And yet there's this old saying, and you guys have heard me say it before. There's this old saying, and it's among fishermen and fisherwomen. And I'm not a fisherman. I would rather be water skiing than fishing, personally, but that's just me. But I understand the value of it, and those who love it, love it. But the old saying is, a bad day of fishing is still better than a good day at work. Right? And I guess I look at love that way. Is there a love that exists, or even a bad day or a bad week or a bad month or a bad year with this person is still better than a great year with someone else? And I absolutely believe that. I've been in that relationship for 12 years. My second marriage was that for half of the relationship. All right. Do I believe that exists? Yes. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. One of the single biggest shifts that happened, and what you want out of a relationship, what any person wants out of a relationship, is strictly individual. It's up to you. And then it's finding someone whose values for a relationship match up. But one of the biggest shifts that happened for me in my life happened in my early 30s. And it was after my first marriage. And it was sort of, I think before I met the woman I would fall in love with and we'd become married in my second marriage. And the insight I had was the shift of I changed my definition of the word soulmate. And I don't even remember what triggered it, but I dropped one clause. And soulmate was a big word. Do you remember when that book came out, Rob, back in the 90s by Thomas More?
Yep.
Yeah, he was, I think, an Anglican monk and a psychologist, and he wrote that book, Soulmates. That's where we get that phrase. He was the one that really popularized it. International best-selling book. And then he had Care of the Soul, which was his follow-up book. Anyway, but I changed my personal definition. When we think of soulmates, we think of, well, it's perfect, it's wonderful, and, yes, there are problems, and it's deep, and it's all these things, and it will last forever. And my first relationship disabused me of that notion. It sort of washed that away from me because I thought she was my soulmate and I thought that meant forever. And my understanding of a soulmate changed. And I dropped that clause and I realized that someone can be a soulmate for as long as it lasts. And I realized one of my brothers had been my soulmate, was my soulmate at the time and had been since, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade and he would be it until my mid-30s. My first wife had been my soulmate. And then my second wife would go on to be my soulmate as well, concurrent when my brother was my soulmate. I've had probably 5 or 6 soulmates in my life. And what I realized is, for me, my understanding, I'm not pushing this on anyone. My understanding of soulmates, my understanding of life is relationships last for as long as they last. We do not, as the Greeks used to say, we do not choose love, love chooses us. We don't get to choose how long it lasts. We get to hold it in our hand for as long as it lasts, but we don't get to, when we try to grip it too tightly is when it squirts out. And we must live with an open hand that it lasts for as long as the gods or God or life or soul or fate decides it shall last. So do I believe that love exists? I absolutely do. But it's not it's not the Rick Springfield type of the 1980s. It's a little thicker and deeper and wiser and richer and harder, yet more fulfilling. But yes, but there's also there's also that side of it too, the romantic, the fun, the rush, the flush, but there is no relationship that doesn't have headaches and hardships and so forth. We are going to take one more question and then we're going to call it a night here, folks. Okay. Garrett, yes, the answer is yes. Right back in. If you want to be on the show, folks, if you would like to be counseled on the Badass Counseling Show, please write into production@badasscounseling.com or simply go to the website, badasscounseling.com, and you can, there is a page there, the podcast page. Otherwise, you can just simply write in production@badasscounseling.com. You'll be asked to write in write-up of what you're struggling with in life, 225 words or less, and our producers look that over and they decide who's going to be on the show. Presently, we are looking for those who are struggling with cheating in their lives. They've been cheated on, or maybe you were the cheater, or you were a family member and you're struggling with it, something along the lines of cheating. We're also wanting people on the show. We accept anybody. You're welcome to write in. We're also accepting folks who are dealing with, you are cutting off a parent, or you have been cut off by your child, or you have cut off your child. That's another one that we're looking at. But if you would like to be counseled on the show, please write into production@badasscounseling.com or simply go to the Badass Counseling website. One more question. Here we go. This is 90s Nate with the final question of the day. 90s Nate on TikTok says, how do I get over her when she says, quote, maybe someday, end quote, but I don't want to let go? I hate this. I hate it when people do this sort of slow walk thing, or when they do the let's be friends thing, or they do the maybe someday thing. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it leaves that door open a crack. And 90s Nate, I hate to be a dick, but she's fucking with you. And she may not even intend to, but this is the ultimate act of selfishness. Not ultimate, but it's selfish. Fundamentally, this person does not have the courage to look you in the eye and say, we're done, and I'm done, and it's not going to be someday. I'm just done. She doesn't want to look like the bad guy, and or, in this case, she doesn't want to hurt your feelings, but she's already hurting your feelings. And so what happens when someone leaves that door open a little bit, well, maybe someday, or let's just be friends, what happens is exactly what you're doing, 90s Nate. And dude, I have been there. I've been there more times than you could possibly know. What happens is the person, if you leave the door open a little bit, I'm like in the past, I've been like a little puppy. I'm going to nuzzle that door open with my nose and I'm going to say, come on, can we play now? Will you be my friend now? Now do you like me? I'll be really cute. I'll do anything you want. Please, please, please. And they will follow you around like a little fucking puppy. And it's cute a little bit. And it's nice to know that someone wants you. But sometimes you just want to kick that puppy across the fucking room. I am not endorsing abuse of animals. I'm speaking in metaphor, people. Okay. So anyway, what happens is that you keep tagging along. You want them. And eventually she's going to get so fucking annoyed with you, 90s Nate, so fucking annoyed because you don't want to let go that she's finally going to say, God damn it, I don't want a relationship. And you want to know what? If I were watching that scene or if I were sitting at the table next to you at the cafe and I heard what went down and then she says that to you, I'd lean over and I'd say, you know what, lady, you made this problem. You left the fucking door open. You gave him mixed signals. Oh, I don't want you today, but I might want you tomorrow. Of course he's going to follow along. Why didn't you just close the door when you knew you didn't want him? It's you being a coward, lady. And that's what your little lady friend is being. You said, how do I get over her when she says, quote, maybe someday, end quote, but I don't want to let go? How do you get over her? You're fundamentally, you don't want to get over her, 90s Nate. You literally said in the same sentence, how do I get over her, but I don't want to let go? You're tits in a bit of a ringer. You know, you got one titty going this way and you got one titty going that way and ne'er the twain shall meet. Okay. Problem is, Nate, is she doesn't want you. That's the bottom line. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. She doesn't want you. She's just being gutless. Okay. And folks, just before I finish my answer to Nate, just end the goddamn relationship. Don't do this slow walk thing. Well, maybe in a few months, or let's just be friends. Anytime somebody is saying let's be friends, it's either because they're doing the bullshit that Nate's lady friend is doing. If she doesn't want to hurt his feelings, or she doesn't have the balls to just man up and just fucking end it like people used to do in the old days. It's hard, but it at least you give the person the courtesy of knowing it's done. Or the person saying let's be friends is the person, let's say in Nate's case, saying, well, can we still be friends? Where they're trying to keep the door open so that you will allow for the possibility that maybe I can, as the little puppy, nuzzle my way through the door and come in and tag along until maybe you'll take me back. I am all for friendships, but not right away. I have rarely, if ever, seen it work. And if anybody is able to be a friendship right away, be in a friendship right away with the lover that they've just broken up with, that tells me neither of them has had feelings for a very long time. Why? It's just too hard to transition. It's too hard to pivot, to turn on a dime that quickly at the end of a relationship. It just takes more time. So how do I get over her when she says maybe someday? Nate, the relationship is done. There's not going to be a someday. And if it is, I got even worse news. I got worse news for you. I have worse news for you. It's going to be after you already don't want it anymore. That's how it always goes. And you're like, well, then I'm going to hold on until I do want it. I'm going to hold on even longer. You can do that. And life's going to just make it more painful because every day that you hold on and don't have her, it's fucking painful, isn't it? Yes, it is. Right. So how do you let go of her? Write her all those letters of love, how much you miss her, how much you long for her, how shitty you feel that she keeps pushing you away. And write out all the things that she's done to hurt you, but especially all the love, all the longing, all the lust, how much you love her ass, whatever it is, how funny she is, how her smile is the greatest smile, how you fear you'll never have anyone as great as her again, which I'm sure is all those feelings. You got to flush them all out, flush them all out, flush them all out. And the more you get those feelings out of you, the less they are in you, because until they are out of you, they're still in you. And the more you do that, the more it'll be easier to walk away. All right, folks, thank you so much for all of these great questions. This has been an excellent lightning round. I love Nate's question at the end. That was just a nice, great little question to end it on. You ever been there, Rob?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, how do I get over her, but I don't want to let go?
Not exactly, no.
Okay, fair. Were you normally in the camp of trying to get over them or not wanting to let go?
Generally not wanting to let go.
Yeah, that's me too.
I'll be honest about it.
No, that's me too. I totally get that.
A lot of talk about love in this episode.
A lot of love.
Yeah, you'd think that people would have had enough of silly love songs, but I look around me, I see it isn't so. And I only know that when I'm in it, it's not silly at all. I thought of that myself.
You did. And what this shows me tonight is a whole lot of love. A whole lot of love. Exactly. Rob is the music master. There's always some reference. We have a little fun jamming to that, as those of you who follow the show know. So, folks, thanks for your questions. Great questions. Thanks to all of you who checked in around the country, across Canada, down in Cancun with Marissa, Tennessee, Babs McGee, over in Dublin. We've had a few over the oceans. It's great to have everyone here. I hope everyone is safe. To our friend Katie DP in her basement in Madison, Wisconsin, sitting out a tornado warning. I do hope you are safe tonight, Katie. To our other friend down in Oklahoma, sitting out a tornado watch. I do hope that watch has passed and that all is safe down there as well. Folks,
we had our listener Soul Search say since he's read the book and started healing, his finances have really improved. And he says, thank you.
You're welcome. And the truth is, just as a coda to that, what happens in this healing work, you guys, is the things that you're most focused on, whether it's your relationship or your health or just getting your career back, whatever, is you begin to see residual things happening in other areas of your life where you weren't even expecting change. It's just weird, and I can't explain it, except we begin to lighten our load and gears begin to open up and start to turn, and it's just cool as shit. So I love hearing that story. Thanks for saying that. And I'm proud of you for having the courage to do the work, because it's ugly ass, brutal, scary work. So good on you, man. You did that.
Yeah, and your book cures acne, as I understand.
And it's good for your sex life. Actually, the cheating book is good for the sex life. That is now officially available at Amazon. Cheating Sucks is the title, by Sven Erlandson, and the audiobook is available at badasscounseling.com. On the books page, it should be available. If it's a little glitchy on the books page, just reach out to my assistant Kate on the contact page. But the paperback is available at Amazon. If you have appreciated our work here tonight, we encourage you to go onto Google and leave a review for Badass Counseling on Google, or right there on wherever you get the podcast. You can leave reviews there. We particularly appreciate them on Google, because that's where most people go when they're looking up businesses and podcasts and so forth, and that'll make sure that it gets out to even more people. I cannot tell you how much we love our listeners. And one more time, if you want to be on the show for counseling, please write into production@badasscounseling.com or go to the Badass Counseling website. All right, folks, I hope you all have a terrific day. This has been a great lightning round. On behalf of my team, KC in the booth, Rob the Rocket next to me, have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.